I don't think there will be a shutdown to show the people everything. All the info is there to look up, but the country as a whole can't be shut down. I agree. Yeah, I don't think there's anybody, whether they're politically on a side or on, there's nobody, even the unpolitical people, that could come onto the scene and say, okay, this is all the truth. This is everything you need to know. Now you know the truth. There's nobody. I think if I think that's why this had to be so uncomfortable. It's not uncomfortable for the people asleep because they just think everything's normal. But again, what has been the root cause of everything, in my opinion, because I've listened to so many different people that have analyzed all of it, from the way everybody was like sheep with the masks, and yes, this is what we all do, and the collective bullshit. And people have their different theories, but here's what I think is the biggest problem is the moral foundation is gone. It is. There are many nurses that I know that think that supporting transgenderism on children, I mean, I don't know them personally, I've just seen them, and they're not bad nurses. But they've been so conditioned to believe whatever CDC, HHS, the American Nurses Association or Medical Association says. We only listen to peer-reviewed. And who got us to this place? Those are all the same people, by the way, that ignore gain of function, ignore what went on in Wuhan with the science and this being released. And so they ignore the most important things that, number one, the public should be made aware of, so that shows how these agencies shouldn't be allowed to operate anymore. But number two, it's the amount of people at these associations of medicine, nursing, science, hospital association, all the associations, that the fact that they ignore all of this, and it's not because they don't know, they pay attention to what goes on in Washington, but it's because they are in an expert role. They do have a bunch of education, and they are the ones that are the most morally misguided. That's what I have seen for over 3 years now. The most morally misaligned and misguided people we have in this country are the higher educated. There's plenty of doctors and there's nurses out there that have come out and spoken up. And yes, you can find them on Rumble, because many of them were purged, but overall, the experts that we've been told to trust are all morally bankrupt. And that's how you get here. That is how you get here. So I think that's ultimately the problem, is once and that's what communism and socialism does. It likes to destroy the moral foundation, which, pushing transgenderism on children is a great, great way to destroy the moral foundation. It will destroy families. It will destroy people's lives, because that child is not at an age to make those decisions. And yet nurses, because they have been so instructed that, no, this is who knows. So somebody like me would be like, well, no, she's not an expert because she's not in that role. She's not an expert because she doesn't have all that higher education. It's like, yeah, but I at least come from a moral compass. The nursing profession likely doesn't like that at the top because they don't have one. If they had one, they wouldn't have blocked me. They would have cared about what they're doing to children. They would have cared about the public knowing about about the people in their profession knowing about gain of function, and this being a deliberate thing that happened. But they don't want to expose that either, which tells you it's because they were involved in it. I think about the audacity of all of these higher educated. I don't care if it's in education at the universities, if it's the nursing people at the top or the medical people at the top. The audacity of them to say, we don't care about your U.S. constitutional rights. That Constitution we have was written long before any of them, those experts, were born. And they wanted to overthrow the United States using pandemic emergencies to do it. So they have a vested interest in continuing to keep as many in their profession asleep. The problem is that because they don't have any moral compass and they don't seem to have even common sense, I don't think they're looking long term about what will happen. Because they may think right now they're sitting pretty because we don't have a justice system that will go after the right people, because that's corrupt. But I think they're very wrong in thinking that they're just going to slide by. So you'd think that even if they had some common sense or cared, I mean, these are people that don't care. Do you want people that don't care heading up nursing? No. Do you want people that don't care heading up medicine? No. Do you want people that don't care heading up education? No. They don't care. They don't even care enough to this day to do the right thing. The moral foundation, the higher educated has destroyed the moral foundation with all of their degree bullshit. Because they are the people that I see that don't have it. They don't have any ethical boundaries. They're not honest people. And they're just continuing to try to, let's ignore this person over here. It's not just me saying this stuff. There's doctors and other people speaking up. You're not going to see them on mainstream media. I mean, I just put up a video of Ron Johnson talking to Maria Bartoloma on, it was Fox Morning or something. And it wasn't real recent, but it was this year, in the last few months, and that's being suppressed. Think about those kind of people that are doing that. That's what sometimes keeps me up at night, is the criminally minded mentality there, and yet they're all higher educated. The most criminally minded in this country are higher educated. They are. They're heading everything up. All their corrupt organizations, they're heading up, and they don't turn around and do the right thing. Like, if you really had a moral compass, you would be demanding that American Medical Association stop their racist equity path, stop trying to ram it down people's throats, demand to know, why are you aligned with a criminal organization like the World Health Organization? Why did you want to get on board with a global health plan that it makes absolutely no sense? It doesn't. Ron Johnson talked about this too. It makes no sense to try to tackle health pandemics on some global scale, because everything is different. Like, that's the reason why all the hospitals should be broken up. They have too much power. All these organizations have too much power. And at the top of all these organizations is the higher educated, who don't have not only a bit of common sense, but they don't operate from a place of having care, empathy, compassion. They don't even operate from a place of honesty. And the same with big tech. It says a lot about what criminals they are, even if they're never charged with anything. But I think the longer they go down this path, the more it shows, no. You have an intention at this point. American Nurses, Medical, Hospital Association, Educate. You have an absolute intention to mislead, misguide, and morally corrupt this country in every way. So, did that higher education do anything for you? No. It just made you real stupid.